Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my wonderful, intelligent, gorgeous, very hardworking, new Disney Hollywood Studios Experiences loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Well, thank you, honey, and hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode on Sunday, May 24th, 2026. It's actually only a day before official Star Wars Day. Star Wars came out on May 25th of 1977 originally, so 49 years as of tomorrow as we're recording this.
Yeah. And it's the, holiday weekend, Memorial Holiday weekend, kind of the unofficial start for summer activities.
Yep, and we know you're listening to this on Memorial Day because what better way to spend Memorial Day than with us here at the Hyperion Adventures podcast. Thank you for having us in your Memorial Day festivities. No, really, hopefully whenever you're listening to this, you've had a wonderful, safe, and exciting, maybe not so exciting Memorial Day, whatever you were looking for. If you're looking to have fun, looking to get together with family, friends, have some food, always hopefully you're remembering the reason for the holiday, of course, that is remembering those that have, been so important to us and
the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, and paid the ultimate sacrifice. Well said, Michelle. But also, hopefully, you've had a good time, enjoyable time. If you traveled this weekend, especially if you drove anywhere, hopefully you packed your patience. But hopefully, it was all very successful and fun.
Exactly. I would agree with that sentiment completely.
as convoluted as it might have been.
I know. I was going to try to start saying things, and I thought, you've said enough there already.
It's usually the case. Just let me roll. Sometimes it'll go, it's like jazz. It goes all sorts of different directions, but at some point it's going to reunite and be going to be fine. That's kind of the way I talk through these episodes.
That's a good comparison for sure.
At least I like to believe it'll be fine. Some people will say, nope, it's still jazz. It's all over the place. You never get there, but we do our best. We do our best.
Sometimes you're more like Grateful Dead than jazz, but...
Still the same thing. They go all over the place and then they get there at the end. So it's all good. Yes. 100% they do as a dead head. I will tell you, they get there. They get there. So, hopefully you've had a great Memorial Day weekend. We are about to have a great episode talking about a lot of stuff that we did just yesterday and some stuff that we did a couple days before that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of fun. But before we get to that, we are the Disney podcast of positivity. And that means we like to pause before we get to the topic and take a look back at those high moments, those wonderful moments, those positive moments from the week that was. We call it My Favorite Thing for This Week. And when we do this, well, of course, we start with Michelle because she's amazing, wonderful, all things good in the world. She does the best research. She obviously has the best lists. She also always has the best My Favorite Thing from this week. So, Michelle, what was your favorite thing from this week?
Well, actually, there were so many, and I'm not going to name them all because I think this is going to be a long episode anyways. But I guess I'll say from one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, at least I hope so because I think I'm prepared for it, is getting to see actually the day before the official release, a Star Wars film, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, we will be giving you a review, and that is one of my favorite things for the week as well as everything else we're talking about today. You're about to hear our favorite things of this week, I think, coming up here very soon. But yes, once we get through our main topic, before we hit the Disney stories of the week, we will be giving you our spoiler-free review of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which we did see Thursday night. We got a good showing for it Thursday night, kind of the preview. It's not really a preview, but kind of the day before it was officially released showing, and we have things to say about it. So hopefully you'll stick around and listen to that as well.
Yeah, it's funny because, and this will show how much we really don't talk about the episodes beforehand to make them a little bit more organic. But I thought this was the main topic, and that the other things were going to be things we just happen to talk about after the spoiler-free review.
No. There are too many great things going on at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That has to be our main topic, but we will not let you down. Well, I guess it depends if you really care about what we have to think about the movie, but we will not let you down on giving you our thoughts on this film, the first new Star Wars film in nearly 7 years since 2019, when the last Star Wars film hit the big screens.
Yeah.
So very excited about that. We did get a My Favorite Thing from this week from one of our listeners. This was from Sue in the UK. She sent us an email. And by the way, she had really nice things to say, and apologies for not making it to our Ask Us Anything show, which she loves to be. I was a little surprised she wasn't there. That she wasn't there. She has really, really good reasons for it. And she promised she's going to be there for every single one going forward. But this came from her. She said, my favorite thing of this week is that Mandy and I have booked our flights to Orlando. Holiday is all sorted and in the bag, and we can't wait. We leave at the end of November and are in Walt Disney World until mid-December. Nice long stay.
Nice.
Love that. Love that. We are so hoping that you can squeeze us in for a couple of drinks and nibbles. That is for sure, Sue. That is a plan. We will be doing that for sure. While we're there one day, maybe more than one day. We don't want to take up your trip, but we'll see. We want to get together with you for sure. It would be wonderful to see you both and Scott. Plenty of time to make arrangements, but just so happy to have got everything booked. We are staying at All Star Sports and so looking forward to being at Disney for the Christmas festivities. I know I'm late with my favorite thing for this week, she said right after we did our episode from last week, but you can carry it on to your next show if you would like to. And we do, of course, we will always do that. Once again, apologies for missing the show, but very much looking forward to watching it on the YouTube as soon as it's up. Best wishes and much love. Sue. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, thank you again, Sue, for your lovely email. We really appreciated it. It touched us very much, and very excited to celebrate with you your solidifying plans for coming out to Walt Disney World. We know it's a place that you and Mandy enjoy, and we're hoping to, as Tom mentioned, get a chance to see you all, but also to help celebrate you having a fun vacation.
Yeah, we're already thinking about ways we can get together with you when you're out, so that'll be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to that. Thank you for your nice note. Sue is always so sweet.
Yeah, always such a great supporter, and she is an official, unofficial
OG. Hyperion Adventure.
Right.
OG, for sure. Appreciate her so much. So,
yes.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to this week's show. Lots of stuff for you this week, including, yes, we mentioned we will be giving you our spoiler-free review of The Mandalorian and Grogu. You'll want to stay tuned for that. Also, we have a few magical details about a very special anniversary for one of our favorite enchanted spots at the Disneyland Resort. And also, speaking of the happiest place on earth, there's some good news for those of you who like to maybe park hop between Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park as well. We'll share that with you coming up later. But as I mentioned, we have some fun new experiences to go over. So let's go ahead and get to our very Muppet Mandalorian Millennium Falcon main topic of the week.
Don't stop me, don't stop me, ow, ow, ow. Don't stop me, don't stop me, ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't stop me, wow, wow, wow. Don't stop me, have a good time, good time.
That's right. For this week's main topic, we were blessed to get out to Disney's Hollywood Studios just yesterday as we're recording this on Saturday, May 23rd. And it was all to get some new Hollywood Studios experiences, right, Michelle?
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Yeah. So we weren't actually sure we were going to go. I'm going to be honest with you. We had made a park reservation as soon as we heard some of these things were going to be opening up for that day. But we also heard, it's going to feel like it's in mid-August instead of late May out there at the parks. It's going to be hot. It's going to be super humid, feels like temperatures near 100, possibly rainstorms going through. So we're like, do we make this? Do we do this thing? But we wanted to give it an effort. And so we got up very early in the morning and we got on there because it was annual pass holder preview time for Rock and Roller Coaster Star and the Muppets. And part of our trip basically focused on if we could get a virtual queue for that, right, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, you and I had talked about the fact that if we didn't get that, would it really be worth all the other things to make that effort out there? And
especially since we were going to be going out to Disney World next weekend.
Yeah.
So that was a big portion of that.
It was
right?
a big portion. So.
Yeah. So, but luckily enough, once again, we got there at 7 a.m., did the refresh. And yes, we were able to land a boarding group for the annual pass holder preview of Rock and Roller Coaster. Not just a boarding group, a pretty early boarding group, number 14, Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a pretty good record of getting on there just in time, or fastest fingers in the now in the East of being able to secure that boarding pass. But you did great.
We have been lucky enough to be pretty successful whenever they're doing these virtual queues for these, and yes, we were able to nab that. So, boom, got that done. Into the car, 7 a.m. Let's get out to Disney's Hollywood Studios. From where we live, it takes us about an hour and 20 minutes to get there. And we're like, okay, now we need to go. This is go time, right? Because now there are lots of things that we want to do, and we want to get it done before it gets oppressively hot out there at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So we hopped on the car, got out there, and got there for rope drop of some wonderful new things that are going on out there, right, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people who had early entry from staying at the resorts were ahead of us, but we were right there in line for the rope drop in front of Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, because we wanted to get a jump on the new Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, the Mandalorian version of Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, which had just opened couple days before.
Yeah, I think Friday was the official opening day, and I think that was the official day of the switchover for that experience on that attraction. So I know I was super excited to be able to try that, because I had actually researched, and we had talked about how some of the positions that are not as highly sought after in the Millennium Falcon had some upgrades that made it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, I was yes. We actually like the older version of Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run just fine. But we are huge fans of the attraction. We're huge fans of Star Wars, and we were excited to get out there and see something new. We're also big fans of the Mandalorian. So adding all that in there, and the fact that you could do a role that, let's be honest with you, the engineer for the original version of Smugglers Run was not exactly the most exciting experience on the attraction. I don't know if it is even now, but I think we're going to find out that maybe it's a bit of an upgrade at least.
Yeah, the Gunner too. The Gunner has some new features to it that makes it a little bit more intriguing than what the past original experience was.
Yeah, so we rope dropped that. Interestingly enough, I thought, I knew the people that were going to be there. We got to see all the people going in and out that had the early entry. We could not get a resort reservation with DVC for this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, not surprising. So we weren't able to nab early entry, but rope drop, fine. We'll get in there, even if it's a little bit of wait. Although we were watching the clock because we had such an early boarding group for Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. We're like, okay, we got to be sure we're done with this in time. But yeah, so we got there, rope dropped at 9 a.m. and we thought, okay, probably a lot of people are going to Rise, because why not? Why wouldn't you? Rise is amazing. Why wouldn't you go to Rise as a rope drop? But maybe half of them will be going to Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, knowing that it's a new version of that attraction. But that wasn't the case, right, Michelle?
Yeah. I think you'd agree with me. I don't think as many people were aware that they did switch over the, kind of what the storyline is now for Smugglers Run. So I don't think there were as many people going, because even later in the day when I was looking at wait times, it still wasn't that unreasonable wait times for Smugglers Run, whereas Rise still continued to be high. And
since that was the case, actually probably the smart thing to do if you wanted to do both attractions was hit Rise first and then go over and do Smugglers Run. I mean, I expected, and I don't know if it got that way later in the day, but I would have expected that queue to be a little bit longer. We basically walked on. We walked on to the attraction, which was great. And we did pick to be engineers. We were probably looking to focus on that, at least one of us to be the engineers. But we did decide that since we had the opportunity, both of us would be engineers, so we would get that full new experience, right, Michelle?
Yeah, and it worked out for us. I mean, we didn't even have to request it. Actually, just how the line was. Yeah. I think we were pretty lucky, don't you think?
We had a family in front of us. They took the two pilots in the gunner position. We had an open gunner. One of us could have taken gunner, but we decided we both wanted to do the engineer, which is like, who does that, right? Who does that in Smugglers Run? Well, we did that now. You get in, and I'm going to tell you right now, lots of great Mando experiences. If you're a fan of Mandalorian, especially if you're a fan of Grogu, you want to be an engineer. I'm going to tell you right now, you do want to be the engineer. If you're a big fan of Baby Yoda / Grogu, or someone in your family is, they want to be the engineer. And this is going to there are going to be some spoilers to this attraction, so I'm just going to let you know this right here. Not
to the attraction.
Yeah, not to the movie, to the attraction. So we'll give a few things out about that. But Michelle, why don't you lay it down? What was it like being an engineer on the new version of Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run?
Well, I mean, again, I think because I had researched for the newsletter what the positions of gunner and engineer were in case we got on and got those positions, or, whether to seek them out. I kind of knew what to expect of what you got to do. But the other thing that I think makes this experience richer is really listening to all the things going on, because the storyline is unfolding and you become a part of that. If you're just looking to push buttons, you're missing out on a lot of the excitement of it, because the engineers actually get to select part of the destination, so everybody starts in Tatooine, but you get to select another one. And that's a random methodology of which engineer is going to have that ability to do that. One engineer sets out the homing devices, and the other engineer gets to select which location, and that's pretty exciting. I think, feature to add on to the attraction.
Right. Yeah. It also makes it interesting because of the fact that each time you do it may be slightly different. At least, if you go on 3 times and you pick the 3 different locations, then they'll probably be somewhat similar. It's a gameplay, so there'll be some adjustments to how it ends up being at the end.
Yeah, you still have some of the things that you're trying to do that Hondo is directing you at. So how the pilots are riding and how much you get to, collect some of those things that you're out there trying to gather also makes what's going on a little differently, and how well the gunners can protect the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. And you actually get a lot of Mando is actually leading you through the attraction as you're on there. It starts off kind of like you did originally from the original Smugglers Run, with Hondo greeting you as you're about to board the ship. And then Mando takes over and he tells you about the mission. You get on there and he kind of guides you through. He's there with a Razor Crest, with Grogu, with Baby Yoda, with him. As the engineer, yes, you pick your destination. I got the luck of being the person who picked our destination. I decided we were going to Bespin. You have your choice of going to Bespin, which is Cloud City. Remember from The Empire Strikes Back. Coruscant, which is, of course, the main capital planet of the Republic, essentially, or the Empire for that matter. Or going to apparently the wreckage of the second Death Star outside the forest. I think it's the forest moon of Endor. It's not the farthest moon.
No,
of
I
Endor,
think
right?
I think it's the farthest.
It's the farthest.
I'd have to check with Pat.
I think it's the forest moon of Endor. Even if Pat may think it's the farthest moon, I think it's the forest moon. Sorry, that's an inside joke. It's only for Pat. I apologize for breaking that out.
And Charles.
But yeah, so those are your choices. I decided this time that I wanted to go to Cloud City. It sounded kind of fun. We go there. You go to Tatooine first, and then you get to pick where you go. Meanwhile, you're doing things just like an engineers do. You're trying to capture some of the cargo that's been out there, and you're also trying to maybe appease Grogu while you're doing this as well. And he makes many appearances. For those of you seeing on YouTube, you can see a picture. He makes many appearances on the screen there. For you, lead you through it. One thing I will say, there's a drawback to being an engineer, and it's not much different than being an engineer in the past, is that you're still focused a little bit on what's happening on the board to the right of you. So you don't get to right or left of you. So you don't get as much of the view of what's happening when you're visiting these planets. You can look up and do that, but you also may miss something. You should be hitting a button, fixing the Millennium Falcon, tending to Grogu, capturing the cargo, whatever it might be as you go along. So depends on what you want your goal is on this. I think the next time we do this, I'd probably rather be a pilot or a gunner so we can actually see some of these lands that we visited a little bit more.
I guess I pretty much agree with you, although I did specifically try to look at the front of the screen, see what's going on. You also have audio notices to make sure you're prompting you to push the buttons and things like that, because you're not constantly pushing buttons.
I guess I'm just not enough of a multitasker. It's like I'm focused. I'm going to make sure Grogu's taken care of and the Millennium Falcon's fine. We're going to get there. We're going to get this done. That's my goal.
You got to trust the pilots and the gunners for their things. But you can look. But I agree with you. It's definitely a distraction from watching the front screen when you're having to push those buttons and things like that.
So it depends on what your goal is here, but definitely if you are a Grogu / Baby Yoda fan, or someone in your family is, that's the spot for them. And it's much more interesting than what the engineer used to be. It used to be like, oh, I'm the engineer. All right, fine. I'm on the attraction. Good. Now it's kind of, I don't know if it's the best spot to be in, but it's much better. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think in terms of overall visual prompts, the pilots do have the ultimate view there. But I do find it gave it a lot more interest being the engineer. And I want to say the gunner, even though we didn't do it, they have some additional features too. First and foremost, before you even really get into everything, is you can decide whether you want to go into an automatic mode or a manual mode. And manual mode lets you...
that's always been the case with the gunners. There's always been an automatic or manual.
Oh, really? I always thought it was manual. So, and then you can select how you...
Right.
And you get more points than doing it the manual way. Mm-hmm.
So. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was always the case. I remember it being the case that you could kind of aim and shoot, or just tap away and shoot.
Oh, I guess I just either always picked the automatic and didn't realize I did that, or just assumed it.
Right. Again, I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong on that.
No,
if I am, please call me out. Please call me out.
I mean, I guess the thing to know is right now in the version that you're going to be exposed to, whether you're at Disneyland or Walt Disney World, you will get to be able to select that methodology. And you really do need to protect the Millennium Falcon. Come on.
You always need to do that.
It's an important position.
You always need to do that. But bottom line, I think that we really enjoyed it. I mean, we like I said, we enjoyed the older version of Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, but I don't think we were going out of our way to do it as much as we did when it first debuted. So maybe that says something about it. Maybe the rewritability factor wasn't as big a thing for us. Now I think we're excited to get out there and experience it. We still want to see the forest moon of Endor. We still want to see, Coruscant.
Yeah.
And actually, I kind of want to see Bespin, because I kind of sort of saw Bespin. I kind of want to see that too. So I'm excited to try all those things out going forward.
Yeah. One of the things that when we were going to see it the first time, well, we only saw it once yesterday, but I remember going up and asking the cast member for the single rider, do you miss the pre-show? And they said yes. But actually, the pre-show is the same as what was before. So you could, if you've seen it, if you've experienced it multiple times and wanted to expedite your way in, you could do single rider.
Darn it. And I was trying to avoid that because that was going to be my tip this week. But Michelle got to it, and it's important to know. So, of course, Michelle always has the best tips. Anyway, yes. It is good.
Cut that out.
That is important to know. That is important to know. Yes, absolutely. The pre-show is the same. It has not changed. Single rider is a great way, especially if you don't mind being the engineer. That may be the case. Because it used to be with single rider, you would get the engineer and be like, oh, well, at least I'm on the attraction.
Right.
Now it's maybe one of the better spots within it. So yeah, it's worth it to you. You'll get to skip a lot of the line for sure.
Right.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. So from there, our boarding group had already been called for Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. And so we needed to beeline it all the way to the other side of the park.
Got our steps in.
Yes, to get over there for that. Luckily, we had plenty of time to get there. Once your boarding group was called, you had an hour to get over there. Walked in. It looks, first time seeing it since the new paint job on the outside, looks phenomenal. Both the car that's kind of hanging upside down that's been there for so long, and the guitar itself. With the new kind of rainbow psychedelic paint job, starring the Muppets. It looks phenomenal, Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Super colorful. I mean, they really did a great job outside of making a lot of things to look at because you're standing in the line for a long time. So there are a lot of Easter eggs and images and things to experience while you're out there. So that was really fun to see.
One thing I need to talk about is like we got in there, we scanned our stuff, got into the queue. There was still a queue outside before you got in, even though this was a preview and you did have boarding groups. Was the playlist that they were going through as you were out there, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
it was so good. It got you rocking right beforehand. There's a lot of 80s in it, which is 80s rock, which is me. First thing I walk in, and the first thing they're playing is Limelight from Rush, which is one of my favorite songs, so much so that it's one of my favorite songs that back when I had a sports talk show, a weekend sports talk show, that was the theme song. That was our song going into that show.
Wow.
So like it was, I couldn't have asked for anything better to kick this off, is that there's Rush Limelight playing. But then they had the Mayhem did one of their songs. They had something from Bowling for Soup. They had Billy Idol. It was really, really great rockin' playlist as we were going through the queue. And I was very excited just for that alone, along with some funny announcements from various Muppets as we went through and did that. Great start.
Yeah, I think that opening area altogether is just well thought out and a lot of entertainment. If you are having to be, I'm sure that would be more like for the standby line, you at least have a lot of things. They also have a lot of fans around to try to help.
Just good on a hot day, like it was already getting really hot.
I can't say you're always
9:30 and it's already in the upper 80s.
Yeah. So, but it definitely helps out. So I thought, but yes, that intro area, they really did an awesome job. It really gets you in the mood, ready for everything ahead.
And then you actually get into the inside portion of the queue. And first thing, air conditioning, yes. But then, oh man, I mean, I was walking through there and I was thinking, you know what? I mean, I was excited to go on the attraction. I know you were too, Michelle. But they could tell me the attraction's closed down and I could just walk this queue. And I could be thrilled by it because there's so much there, so much that we didn't even get a chance to see that we really would have loved to have taken in.
Oh, I know. All I could think of afterwards was, I wish there was a way that you can go on without doing the ride, but to make that, to say, look, let me in there just to look. I won't take anybody's seat up in the ride. I just want to take more time because in that area, you're kind of walking pretty fast. So I think that's
at least we were on this day, yeah.
Yeah, I think the way they move the crowds through the different sections, you're never there for a long time. At least it didn't seem like it. You're, outside you are, but then they bring you kind of like in batches, which makes sense because of how they're going to eventually, put you on the ride. And I would just love to spend a lot of time in there.
And they started off great. As soon as you enter into the building, there in front of you are some cases with the instruments for the Electric Mayhem there. There's the banjo from Rainbow Connection that Kermit is playing in the Muppet movie. There's a lot of the knickknacks you'll find on different times on Rolf's piano. It's phenomenal. That's just a great start, and that's the tip of the iceberg of the stuff you go through as you're there.
Yeah. That area is very bright and you get to really see, like you said, it's focusing, I think, at least what I remember of it, focusing a lot on the instruments and things like that. So good intro.
And then you go in and welcome to G-Force Records, which of course you're in G-Force Record Studio, and lots of different photos and paintings and artifacts on the wall. Pretty incredible stuff as you go through there.
Yeah, I think that's where the costumes were, right?
That was a little bit farther along. We'll get to that too. And then you actually get into the recording studio itself. And yes, the recording studio is still there. And the Mayhem are there jamming away, doing some recording, of course, with the Penguin sound technicians. Scooter's there. There's Mayhem afoot, but it looks great, phenomenal, very exciting, and and you get even a little Dr. Benson, Honeydew, and Beaker to explaining how they're going to get you to a big concert as fast as possible, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know on social media and on YouTube, it's all there. I saw little bits of it ahead of time, but it didn't really spoil it, like being there, actually seeing it happen, and it's just hilarious. So many Easter eggs, so many funny puns, even just little things like seeing the next to the penguins, the little bucket of frozen fish for them to snack on between them. It's just so many details. It's just great.
There are several Muppet Vision references there, including one that had me laugh out loud and yell because I was so excited. I'm not going to spoil. I'm spoiling plenty of things for you. And if you want to get spoilers, it's all out. As Michelle already mentioned, it's all out there for you on YouTube. But there was one moment that just had me. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. That's amazing.
Yeah, it took me a second to remember the reference, but yeah.
And there is a reference to Pizza Rizzo there as well. Yes, it was really fun to see. So you get through all that. They get you, and then you go to the next portion of it. And you even get to see who's been Employee of the Month for a while. For all time, apparently. Apparently, it's just Scooter.
Yes.
It's just Scooter. He's the Employee of the Month. But right there also, you'll see a lot of the Mayhem's more elaborate costumes that are in there.
Right.
And those are
Behind,
right in those areas. Then you go into the next area, which is right where they're the loading area. And there are so many, again, I know I didn't see nearly everything there. Great Gonzo stuff's phenomenal. The Squeak Easy was great. There's so many little things that you can pick and choose out as you're waiting to board. As long as your heart's not getting ready to board, and you can
try
take
to
it all
distract
in.
you.
Yes, it is great. It's so well done. It's amazing.
Yeah, so many details that the Imagineers really thoughtfully placed into all of this area. Like you said, there's a lot of distraction going on there because you're being pulled to queue up, you're hearing things going on, you're seeing the cars getting the limo, is it limo coming up and things like that. So there's a lot going on to really be able to piece through and see all the details, but there are a ton of things going on, and bravo to the Imagineers for all their detailed work throughout the whole attraction.
It doesn't matter what portion of the Muppets you were on, that you kind of got into the Muppets, it's going to be there, whether it's theme park stuff, whether it's the movies, whether it's the Muppet Show, it's all around, and it's all worth your time. I want to spend more time in that queue alone. Then we got on the attraction, and yes, the attraction was, I'm going to be honest with you, the attraction, it's still the same rock and roller coaster, but with some Muppet enhancements when you're through there. Some things that are going to make you laugh as you're going through, make you smile as you're going through there. Different songs. You have ability of different songs. We got Love Roller Coaster, which perfect. Again, the music selections were perfect for us. Roller coaster of love. It was the best. It was the best. It was awesome. I'm so excited to go on it.
Well, I'll say, the countdown for the previous version was always so dramatic. And although this is still very dramatic, I think because it's more fun.
You got an animal out there
counting down. It is, I can't say a lot, but it is a little less stressful than the original version.
And there are great things that will just make you smile, make you laugh throughout it while you're screaming as you're going upside down and whipping around and everything. It's
if you have your eyes open.
The one thing I will say that I was a little disappointed in is that, and I don't know if this is the case with everyone, this was our attraction. We stopped earlier before we got to Statler and Waldorf because I knew that I tried to avoid many spoilers, but I saw too many things online that I knew they were going to be there at the end. And I could hear them talking, but we were stopped down as they were doing something with the attraction. I think they were helping get somebody on that it took a little extra time to get on one of the cars. But when we got to that point, we whipped past them. I wanted to stop right in front of them just for a minute, just even 30 seconds, just to get a couple of their zingers in. So I was a little disappointed that we whipped past them a little bit quicker. I tried to get a picture of them, and we went too fast. I didn't even get a good picture of them.
Well, I wonder if some of that is why maybe even Walt Disney World had cast members showing that in some of the, trailers for the attraction, knowing that not everybody was really going to get to hear much of what they said. So that's just
that was
a
my
theory
one,
I have.
my one disappointment is I wanted a little more Statler and Waldorf.
Especially knowing that they were there. Yeah.
I got to hear him. I got to see him briefly as it passed through, but then, up on the attraction. And then, yes, to the concert, to go see the video of the concert for the Electric Mayhem there at the end. Amazing. It is a 100% phenomenal I liked Rock and Roller Coaster featuring Aerosmith before. But we love the Muppets. We are all about the Muppets. We've been hashtag save the Muppets for the fact that the Muppets are in this. It just, again, it's attraction. We are not huge roller coaster people. We don't. I was even concerned about whether we were going to be able to get on this thing or how it was going to affect my body, because it's been a while and many roller coasters do not affect my equilibrium really, really well. I had no problems with this. Maybe it's just the sheer joy of it all. I had zero problems with this. We will be going on it again for sure, Michelle.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the Aerosmith one was great. The music in that one was also very phenomenal a lot of times. But I think having more of the connection with all that the Muppets brings versus a band, in particular like Aerosmith, definitely enhances what this attraction brings.
Yeah, it's, again, solid upgrade. It's going to be something you'll want to go back to many, many times because, again, it's similar to Cosmic Rewind. You may get a different song when you're on it. The queue alone is worth your time just to pick out all the fun Muppet little things that I think you're going to visit it 40 times and you won't see everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing. They've done such a phenomenal job. It'll make you smile throughout, even when waiting. If an attraction is making you smile while you're waiting in line, they're doing something right.
Yeah,
Michelle.
Exactly. Agreed. 100%.
So, yeah, really, really good. And then we did go outside. We did see food featuring that great celebrity chef, the Swedish chef.
Right.
We did think about going in and grabbing something, but we had something else in mind that we wanted to eat, so we did not go there. But it's basically a small food truck trailer right outside the exit as you're leaving the attraction.
Right. So it's a new building that wasn't there before. It's just like you said, it's like a food truck trailer. But it was also very popular, right? From the start. And I think because there was a lot of marketing to let you know that was going to be there, because a lot of times with some of the newer quick service, you don't see as much at the beginning, but this was right away. Everybody was there.
For as we were doing this, you could only access it if you had the annual pass holder preview because it was blocked off from the general public there. But once it opens up, whether you're riding the attraction or not, you're going to get to experience that little food booth.
Right.
And that's fun. And another wonderful nod.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
Muppets, for sure. So that we hit the Mandalorian, we hit the Millennium Falcon, we hit the Muppets, but there's one other new location that we needed to get to during our day at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And that is the Animation Courtyard, newly opened just this week. We saw some great things. We happen to have some sort of ties to it, at least kind of feel that way, since a lot of that area is going to be based on the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, which we've visited many times, but also Once Upon a Studio, when the magic of Disney animation opens up later this year as well. So we needed to see the space. We'd seen some great things from people out there, but we are very, very excited to visit, Michelle.
Yes. If you've ever taken the tour at Burbank, they continue to give every month, it's through D23, and you can access those tours even if you're not a paid gold member. You just pay a little bit more. But if you've ever been on those tours, you'll see some definite connections in this area to what is in those tours.
Yeah. And I'm just going to spoil it right now. This area is an area we are going to spend a lot of time in going forward. It's phenomenal. It's great. It's beautiful. There's a lot of great spaces within there and a lot of great things to see. I'm not going to say it's as intricate as what you'll find in the queue for Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets, but there's a lot of great stuff to see here. And I'm going to compare some of these things. I have, for those of you watching on YouTube, comparing some of the things that are in this land and how well the engineers and, yes, Dan Abraham, among other animators who has been on our show, co-director, co-creator of Once Upon a Studio, helped the Imagineers develop this. And so I'm going to compare some pictures here. You can see the Walt Disney Studio signs for those of you watching on YouTube here, and how similar that layout is. Of course, obviously it's a smaller version of it, but that is right as you're driving into at least one of the entrances to the Disney Studios in Burbank. Look at for those of you on YouTube, look at the side walling there. They make it look like a sound stage for stage 1 at the Walt Disney Studios. And one of these is actually the sound stage, and one of those is at the Animation Courtyard. Look at it. It looks phenomenal. It looks just like you're there.
Right.
You get that feeling like you're there. There is Pluto's Corner and Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue there, the sign there. That's there. You can see a picture of us there at that spot in the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, and those pictures of us at that spot in here. Incredible recreation, Michelle.
Yeah, it really brought back a lot of nice memories getting to see that, and just, really enjoying the ambiance that they are creating there.
So great. And yes, the Sorcerer's Hat, the Mickey Sorcerer's Hat is back in a different way, and I think the best way possible. Again, comparing, this is the Disney Animation Building in Burbank, which we were blessed to visit a couple years ago. And then this is the Sorcerer Hat at the Animation Courtyard. A wonderful recreation. And I've heard and seen actually video that thing does even more things at night. Like it really is fun and comes alive at night as well.
Very cool. I mean, also to put things into perspective, it is smaller when you're going in there, but it doesn't deter from anything, just in terms of expectations.
Right. Absolutely. And there are lots of little characters. I mean, Michelle's best tip is look up. I'm telling you, this is a space you're going to want to look up, because there's lots of characters stashed around at different locations that you'll find out. There's some on the ground and eye level as well. But if you look up, you'll find lots of different fun characters throughout this space.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a nice blend between classic and more modern characters. So,
sometimes blending the two.
Yeah, people of any age who is a Disney animation film fan will really appreciate.
And yes, benches and a lot of shady spots, which are very, very important, especially in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Finding the locations to relax, sit, and enjoy, and just take in the courtyard for what it is. Yes, it can. Right now, it's very busy in there. Very busy. I don't know what it'll be like in the future, but I know with the magic of Disney animation coming, they already have the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse show going on there. We know one of the shows let out, and it got pretty full in that part of the park. Yet we still were able to find a nice place to sit and just take it all in for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's not other than like the shows like just before the courtyard is the Little Mermaid show there, and like you said, the
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Thank you. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is there. But inside the courtyard right now, not all the planned activities are open yet. They are going to be open sometime this summer. We don't have exact dates yet. But this is a great introduction of really seeing what that theming of that whole area is, kind of like a new land.
Right. And I didn't even get into like all the different, I meant to put pictures up for those on YouTube, but apparently I forgot it on my PowerPoint here. But the pictures of the various different footprints and handprints and so forth of a lot of different characters. They're hilarious. They're fun. You can pick out some of your favorites from all different generations of movies. Including some characters that you may not have expect to show up there. Pretty incredible stuff. It's an area that you're going to be able to pick out little things as you're going through and find new things while you're there. So really, really nice. Really, Michelle, don't you agree?
100%. And, like I said, it really does bring you back to, the history of the Walt Disney Animation Studios right there. I think it really ties in with the entire theming of the park. I really appreciate what they did, what their goal was here, and I think they knocked it out of the park.
Right. 100%. It's great. It is great. It's a great area. It's a great addition. All three of these things that we've just discussed. Great areas, great additions. Very, very excited to experience them all again in the future, which is good. It could be one of those things like, well, we wanted to do it. It was fine. It's a one and done. It's not. None of these things is a one and done.
Right. I mean, I think, obviously we have personal connections with, what is
with all three of these things.
With all three of these things. And so I think some people who don't have that connection may think if this is it, it doesn't feel complete. And just to reiterate, it really isn't. There are some big things that are coming that are really going to tie in that whole aspect of animation and bring all of us as guests into that world and understand it, whether it's not just how to draw a character, but how the films come together with different aspects with different lighting and different techniques, sound, etc., that come together to create a film. And I love how they're planning to roll that out. So it isn't complete yet. Right now, it's just nice ambiance, as I said, to really understand what that area is going to become.
And again, more places. We're at the point where we enjoy. We don't need to go attraction. We like sometimes just take a pause and sit, find a shady bench and people watch and enjoy the spaces and the sound. I didn't even notice. I've heard the soundtrack a little bit and I didn't notice it, but I wasn't really listening for it. Maybe I was too busy taking in everything around, but I've heard a piece of the soundtrack and even the soundtrack in that area, phenomenal. So again, spaces that we're going to hit up many, many times. And then it was time for a little lunch at one of our favorite spots. We were over to the Brown Derby Lounge, got in there. We did all this. We got into the Brown Derby Lounge. We were waiting in line before 11. We had done all of those things before 11 o'clock, got into the Brown Derby Lounge, got our favorite margarita flight. I got the Cobb salad. Michelle, you tried something different at the Brown Derby Lounge this time.
Right. Yeah. Their stuffed butternut squash dish. I had asked the cast member about that because it sounded really delicious and she reiterated it and she was accurate. It was a really nice dish. It was, I think a lot of people think of butternut squash dishes to have like ravioli, and that's not what this was. This is thinly sliced butternut squash that is rolled with stuffing inside with cheese, and it is a vegan dish, or I should say vegetarian.
She mentioned vegan, but I know it's definitely vegetarian. It's definitely all plant-based.
Right. Well, that would be vegan.
Well, then, yeah, I think it is vegan.
I'm just trying to think if the cheese is real.
Was there no, I don't think it was. I think it was the cheese in quotation
marks. Oh, really?
So
well, then that's
check with it if you're vegan. Check and make sure that's the case. But I do believe it was completely plant-based.
I mean, other than that, yeah. Well, then I was surprised because the cheese was delicious as well in there. And it was just really a wonderful dish. I'll say that it was more than an appetizer. If as an entree, it probably isn't enough to make you feel full. Like if you're definitely not for dinner, maybe for lunch, a light lunch, because that's kind of what we did. It was sufficient as a light lunch, but I wouldn't call it a full entree. I think if you wanted to try that and an appetizer, you'd probably be okay because it is more of a lighter dish.
Whereas I went to the classic. I went to the historic Cobb salad, the Brown Derby Cobb salad, which is always great and it mixes so well with the margarita flight, which is our favorites. We go there specifically for the margarita flight, and then we add some food with it too, just because we feel guilty if we're just drinking margaritas and that's it. But we love it there. It's a bit expensive for a lunch. I'm just going to say that right now. If you're looking to go there and have something that's not pricey, this is pricey. I mean, you can get drinks and whatever there, for regular drink prices at Disney. But if you're adding food onto it, it starts to build up that bill pretty quickly.
Well, because you're getting off the regular menu of the inside restaurant. And one of the benefits of going to the inside restaurant, and I don't know if you were thinking of this as your tip, but you do get discounts if you're eating inside the restaurant.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes that might be dinner. Don't quote me on that, but it's always good to ask because these things change all the time anyways. But in the lounge, that's what you're ordering the menu from. So it's an expensive
We like sitting outside there because it's a great place to people watch while you're there. We got asked about our margarita flight a couple times while we were there. Like, what is that? That looks amazing. We're like, yeah, it is. It is. And by the way, you can get the margarita flight to go.
Yeah.
And if you want to juggle 3 cups around with you, and when you're done eating, at least our server is like, "Hey, do you want another margarita flight to take with you?" No, we had enough, but thank you. But
But it is good to know you can get a cocktail in a cup to go if you want and walk around the park with that. So
it was phenomenal, great meal, and that was about it. We decided, well, there were a couple reasons we decided to call it at that point. One, it was getting hot. Two, we knew it could rain. It didn't rain till later, but for those of you, on social media, the lightning storms that were going through that area, that was all coming because of this humidity. Three, I forgot to pack sunscreen. Not that I forgot. I actually looked at our backpack and I saw sunscreen there. I'm like, great, we got our sunscreen. We're in a hurry. Let's go. We get there and we realize the sunscreen that was in there was empty. So we didn't have sunscreen. So it was like all these things balanced out. We didn't have a place to stay. So it was like, okay, we did enough. We did Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. We did the Mandalorian on the Millennium Falcon. We did the Animation Courtyard. Had a great meal. We're good. We headed home. And obviously we're spoiled and blessed with the fact that we can do this as annual pass holders and, living locally, that we can do a day like that. But sometimes it's nice to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, right. I mean, like you said, we had already achieved what we were going there for, and to stay there any longer probably would have been just uncomfortable. Even as Floridians, even though we've been here for several years now and tried to acclimate a little bit, it was still pretty hot.
It was pretty well, and then we'd only been there until we left there a little bit before 1:00 is when we ended up getting done with everything. And it was just starting to get to the hottest portion of the day. There was every once in a while a nice breeze that helped, but it was muggy, really humid. It felt very much like an August day, not a May day, which was a little odd for here. But great time. Blessed to get to do that, get that opportunity to have a portion of the day. Blessed also that we got a boarding group so early in the day that we could knock all these things out in order the way we wanted to do them, and really experience them and get to tell you all about them.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you'll get to enjoy it on your next chance to visit Disney's Hollywood studio. And that is Muppets, Mandalorians, and the Millennium Falcon, our visit to Disney's Hollywood studio.
Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. I don't want to stop at all. That was great.
Such a great day out there, despite the heat, despite the humidity, all those new experiences. So excited to get the chance to experience them, to do them, and know that we will be ready to do them again on our next visit.
Yeah, it's fun to have new things to try out there.
Yeah, all sorts of new stuff coming to the parks. It's so great. So great. All right. Before we get to the Disney stories of the week, we talked about this already. We had the chance to visit our local theater for a Thursday night sort of preview of The Mandalorian and Grogu. And we wanted to give you our spoiler-free review of that film, right, Michelle?
Exactly. I'm excited to talk about it, even though, like you said, it's going to be spoiler-free. Have a lot of opinions and impressions of it.
Right. Well, definitely. So many. It was, first of all, I'm going to start off with, it's so good to have Star Wars on the big screen again. It's been since December of 2019, the last time a Star Wars movie was in the theaters. So nearly 7 years. It's been a long time. But I think we were rewarded a little bit, at least if you're looking for a fun summertime movie, Michelle.
Yeah. So, to set the stage here, this film is taking place, if you've watched the series, somewhat after the end of the last episode of season 3, where Mando and Grogu together are, working kind of with the New Republic at trying to track down Imperial criminals.
Yeah, that's kind of where you end up. If you watched The Mandalorian, if you go back and rewatch The Mandalorian, where we ended up at the end of season 3. Don't know what the time in between the end of season 3 is in this. I feel like it's been a little bit of time.
Right, but not a ton of time.
Right. I don't know if it's been a year, 2 years, or cycles as they call it in Star Wars. But it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like an elevator pitch for this film, and I felt like it was a a fun summertime film, especially for Mandalorian fans of all ages. It mixes some suspense with really cute, funny moments as well. It does feel bigger of an adventure than the series, but maybe not as story heavy as what you would think of like with any of the trilogy Star Wars.
I feel it's very character driven in the fact, but it's very character driven specifically on a couple of characters. One, Mando. Two, Grogu. Makes sense. The Mandalorian and Grogu, right? But also there's a new character involved. I'm not going to get too much into which character that is, but you'll know that their story is an important portion of this as well.
Right. Yeah. And I think some things that have been put out there, I do want to, in regards to that character, want to say that the studio brought in Phil Tippett, who was originally hired by George Lucas when he was working on Star Wars A New Hope, the original Star Wars film. So it's kind of nice to see kind of like full circle with this person's talent. This person has worked a lot with not just creating characters and their look, but has done a lot of stop motion kind of work and CGI work. And so I think getting that person who's had that kind of history with the company and with the world of Star Wars, I think really enhanced what this film was able to offer.
Here's what I'll say about this film also is if you're going in, you're going to look at this two different ways. If you're going in to get a lot of Star Wars lore and in depth and really gripping, world shattering or galaxy shattering moments, you may be a little disappointed. It's not that kind of movie. If that's what you're in for, not. If you're going in for a fun summer popcorn movie, if you're going in as a fan of The Mandalorian and especially a fan of Grogu, or even just if you only know him as Baby Yoda, if you're a fan of that, if you're somebody who likes stories about families, stories that will tie in family members, both actual blood family and found family, then it's your kind of film. If you just like having fun at the movies, I think it might be your kind of film.
Yeah, I have a couple things to say about that. First of all, Star Wars is always, well, I shouldn't say always, but generally speaking, about families and relationships. And I'll say in this film, one of the things that I really was impressed with, that really, I guess, maybe touched me personally, is that growing relationship between the Mandalorian and Grogu. And I thought they brought that through really well. Again, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but as parents, right, there are a lot of times that we may not see the potential our kid has, or we want to protect them so much that we maybe stunt some of their ability to explore and discover what they have. And I thought this film did that really, really well, that by the time the film was done, you saw that transition of how that relationship and how the Mandalorian and Grogu were able to, see that very much like a parent-child relationship.
Well, I mean, he's Mando's adopted child, as we saw at the end of season 3. I guess that's spoiler for season 3 of The Mandalorian, but you've had a couple years. So yeah, I mean, but yes, I completely agree. It's a really good point, Michelle. It's a huge part of it. To me, the film has a lot of heart, as you were just talking about. There's a lot of good action, and there's a lot of new creatures, a lot of new interesting creatures in there, and a ton of humor. If you like laughing at a Star Wars movie, if you don't want it to be, if it doesn't need to be so serious all the time, this is your movie. You're going to enjoy it. And again, I think specifically people, if you don't get Grogu, if you don't get Baby Yoda, if you don't get that part of it, then don't go. It's not your thing. It's probably not your film. But if you enjoyed that, even at some point in your life, and have family members who enjoyed it, and young kids who enjoyed it, this is your movie. You're going to really have a great time.
Right. Well, I mean, what I'd kind of tag on with that is, if you've been, you feel like you're a Star Wars fan, or at least fan adjacent, or however you want to call it, but you haven't been thrilled maybe with some of the deeper storylines, like with Kenobi, with the Accolade, Andor, and want something that is a little bit more lighter than that. And again, still ties in a lot of all the things that you know about Star Wars, a lot of the creatures or individuals associated with Star Wars. This gives that to you, you know. I do love a lot of the characters. What do you call them? The Anzellans? You know, those are the short little creatures that repair things that we first, I think, saw.
Babu Freak. Babu Freak.
Right. That we first saw in, was it Rise of Skywalker?
Yes.
You know, you get them and a little bit more deeper of them in this, but I think they are there in a great way to intertwine the humor that they bring to some of the deeper plot lines or some of maybe the more violent scenes in this film. So I think that kind of helps, you know, give that differences of feelings of watching Star Wars.
Right. And there are, you know, I say it, there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of heart, but there are some tense and scary moments in there. So if you have a young one who loves Baby Yoda, or loves Grogu or whatever, you know your child. You know what they like. It is, I believe this movie is PG-13. It is PG-13 for a reason. There are going to be some moments that, even though they'll laugh and love this character, you may want to protect them from a little bit, just to be sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the violence you kind of saw in The Mandalorian with some of the fighting scenes and things like that. And I think that's kind of...
There are also a lot of creatures that are, like I said, there's a lot of brand new creatures that you may have never seen before, or maybe you've only seen in miniature before, that can be a little scary to some kids that have, you know, kind of that issue going on for young kids.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe some really young kids, but I think most kids.
But like I said, you know your child. You know, if it doesn't matter what age they are. If they are good with some of them, you could be an older child. It could be a teenager and not like some of this stuff, or you could be a very young child and like, this stuff doesn't bother me at all. I'm going to enjoy the fun and action and adventure. You know your child, but just wanted to give you a little heads up on that. There is some of that out there.
Yeah.
It's not just all, you know, Mando taking care of Baby Yoda,
Right.
and Baby Yoda, you know, doing funny things, you know. So,
But those things do happen.
but those things definitely happen.
You know, I don't know, honey, about you. I was glad to have seen this film the first time on the big screen. You know, it may not be the strongest storyline, but I was glad to really be be immersed into that story on the big screen. Especially, you know, I do think if you know a lot of spoilers, maybe then seeing it on, you know, like a streaming service later down the line. But to get that emotional impact, I was glad that we saw that on the big screen.
Me too. And I was wondering, I was like, do we wait or do we go see it right away? And we had a good showtime the first night it was out, and was thrilled to get to see Star Wars in the theater once again. Good crowd, laughing at the right moments, cheering at the right moments. It was a lot of fun to see it with people again. And very excited. Another thing I want to say, Ludwig Göransson's score is amazing in this. There's so many great things, and stick around all the way through. You should stick around all the way through the credits anyway, but definitely do it for this because the score only gets better in the credits.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I know we do it personally to feel like we're showing respect for all the hard work that everybody that put together that film are there. It's not like Marvel where you get a sneak peek at a future film.
Well, that's our spoiler right there. You're not sticking around for a cut scene at the end.
Right. But you don't want to miss the very end where Ludwig's finale take on the theme song for The Mandalorian. It is wild. That's all I'll say. It's wild.
Fun.
I cracked up. Loved it.
Yeah, but the score all the way throughout, all the way throughout.
Yes.
Great. That is the one. I don't think this is going to be up for a lot of awards,
right?
When it come awards season. But the score and some of the sound may very well be. And Ludwig Göransson has a lot to do with that, if not everything to do with at least the score for sure.
Right. I think this movie has a ton of Easter eggs. I know I saw a fraction of them, but now that I've researched know more of them, I would love to go back just to try to catch sight of a lot of these things. It definitely has the recognizability of Star Wars films, things you've seen in the past, and again, some Easter eggs, some tribute Easter eggs and things like that. So it is filled with those.
Yeah. So bottom line, I think what we would say is that we really enjoyed it. It's a fun summer-ish popcorn type movie. It's a good Star Wars movie. It's good Star Wars fun. It's not Andor. It's not serious that. It's also not as light as some other things that you may see in the Star Wars universe. It's not Lego Star Wars or whatever, but it's somewhere in between, and that's a good space to be. Again, it's got some issues. It's got some story issues that, it's got some, I felt a couple of times it dragged just a little bit, but not enough for me not to have fun throughout it and be excited to go back and see it once again.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, it's one of those films, like you said, a great summer movie, fun movie. It's a movie that families can go to. When we walked out, I said, this is a great date movie that you can go see. It's not that heavy, and yet there is some elements to it that have very emotional ties. And I think if you take time, like I said, and see the big picture of it, of that relationship between the two of them and how it really took a leap forward, I think it was a wonderful film.
I think the bottom line, it had me smiling through most of the movie. I was smiling through it, whether it was because, it was just good to be seeing a Star Wars movie again, whether it was funny things going on the screen, whether it was fun action, whatever it is. It was that kind of movie. It was a smiley movie for me.
Right, exactly. So. But it wasn't a hilarious movie, but it did have
there were hilarious points.
Yes, there were plenty of
parts that made me guffaw and other members in the actual crowd guffaw.
Yes.
So that's our spoiler-free review of The Mandalorian and Grogu. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Disney stories of the week. I don't have a ton for you this week, but I do have a couple things that I want to get to here. And I'm going to start with, we have a few magical details about a very special anniversary for one of our favorite enchanted places at the Disneyland Resort, Michelle.
Yeah.
This came from the Disney Parks blog. They said, wake up, it's showtime at the Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar. Yes, love it so much. Tucked away at the Disneyland Hotel inside the Disneyland Resort, this lively hideaway has become a destination all its own, from where every visit feels like stepping into an ongoing story filled with adventure, humor, unexpected surprises, and many of the puns you've come to know and love. So Trader Sam's, and this actually caught me off guard a little bit because I felt Trader Sam's had been around for a lot longer than that. I don't know why I did, but I felt like it had been around for seemingly forever. But Trader Sam's has been delighting passionate guests and plenty of thirsty explorers since its debut in 2011, serving up inventive drinks and memorable moments for 15 years as of this year. That's incredible.
It's a big anniversary, though.
Yep. So alongside its playful effects and captivating atmosphere, the lounge has built a devoted following thanks to an ever-evolving lineup of collectible mugs. And yes, there is a new collectible mug you can pick up. I don't know, they just keep coming out with them. And this year's 15th anniversary mug is the Laughing Hyena Tiki mug.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect themed mug for sure. And I know it's going to be one that is going to probably be hard to get if you're not on it right away.
Right. I have to admit, you can find pictures of this on the Disney Parks blog. Looking at that mug, I'm like, I don't think you're drinking regularly out of this mug. You need a straw to drink out of it. I think it's more of a decoration, which most of these really are, than something you're drinking out of. But still, it's fun just the same.
Yeah, it's cute. And like I said, it's great theming.
So that mug will be available for you at the location beginning on May 30th or early mobile order release on May 29th if you're looking to try and get that. Add to your Tiki mug collection with the Laughing Hyena mug. They're also breaking out some new cocktails and some classic Tiki Bar cocktails as well, including, I'm not going to give all the different ingredients for all these, but there's the Jungle Bird, there's the Navy Grog, the Lapu Lapu, the Saturn, the Test Pilot, 3 Dots and a Dash, all different new cocktails. You can look up what's in them and they all sound yummy and delicious and wonderful. Also, some of the original cocktails that were at Trader Sam's from early on, including the Ginger's Paradise, Old Kungaloosh, Rosita's Margarita, which I think I'll want to get Rosita's Margarita, the Kablooey, and the Lost Safari. And all sound delicious, wonderful, yummy. And there's some new food items as well out there. There's the barbecue chicken flatbread with teriyaki chicken, red onions, mozzarella cheese, micro herbs, Fresno chilies, green onions, and pineapple, which is something that I want to have. And it says you can even add Kahlua pork if you want to that. All that. I'm for that. There's a macaroni salad. There's the chicken katsu curry, which is crispy chicken cutlet, Japanese curry, jasmine rice, soy marinated egg, and pickled ginger. That looks phenomenal. And the furikake fries, which are beer battered French fries with furikake, green onions, and gochujang aioli, which sounds wonderful as well. I mean, pair that up with their battered, their tempura green beans there. Man, that's a good meal just for those dipping things right there.
Yeah, and those new food items are already available right now. You can get them whether you're sitting outdoors at the Tangaroa.
Well, it's still part of the Enchanted Tiki room, but it's part of kind of the Tangaroa Terrace area there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so that's the one great thing, or one of the great things about Trader Sam's is, yes, of course, you want to get inside and have all the enchanted fun that goes on inside of Trader Sam's itself. But outside is pretty great too. It's a really great ambiance. They have the tiki, especially at night, they have the tiki torches lit. Oftentimes they have some performers doing some Polynesian style music out there. And it could be just a nice evening. And you can even take the food. They have a little fireplace out there, a stone fireplace with some couches and everything. And you can even get the food out to that area as well. And the drinks too. And right there, it's right in the middle of the Disneyland hotel.
Yeah.
So you can't think of more of a classic, wonderful spot than that, Michelle.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if you've mentioned, I know we've mentioned it in the past that inside the actual bar, it does become a 21 and over after 8 o'clock. But before that time,
the kids can get in there as well.
And it has, excuse me, it has recently reopened because they were doing some renovations and things like that. So that bar area recently reopened also.
Yeah. I know that we're going to be out there. I don't know if all this stuff will still be going on. I'm hoping it's still within the year, the 15th anniversary. But when we're out there in August, we are staying at the Disneyland Hotel. Probably we'll have at least one night where we might be able to hit it up when we're out there, hoping to try and experience some of these things, some of the new and returning cocktails, and definitely some of the new food items when we're visiting.
Yeah, from what I've researched on this, it does sound like a lot of these special things related to the anniversary will be offered through the summer.
Yeah, that's what I would expect. Since hey, we know a Disney anniversary rarely ends up it's definitely not the one single day.
Right.
And it definitely even hardly ever a single year. So either way, even if you're not within the time, worth your time to take a step away from the parks, head over to the Disneyland Hotel and try Trader Sam's over there. Yeah, Trader Sam's 15. Walt Disney World's Trader Sam's even younger than that.
Yeah.
I think it's 11. I think or something like that.
Right. And there's definitely different vibes to both of them. So in fact, I prefer the Disneyland one to the Walt Disney World one. Even the outside.
I definitely prefer the outside version of the Disneyland one better than the outside area at Polynesian.
Right.
But the inside, I'm not sure which one I like more.
Oh, I definitely like the Disneyland one. Well, one thing is they have booths. You don't have to sit with other people.
Sometimes you do, though. I mean, both places are, and it's a bit of a smaller space.
Yeah, it is smaller, but I think that's the charm of it. Yeah. I think that is what's part of making it feel like this, little tropical hut that you can get some tropical drinks at,
Either way, it's great. Love them both. And very excited. Happy 15th birthday to Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
One more story out of Disneyland, just really quick. Beginning on June 9th, they are eliminating the restrictions on park hopping between Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park. If you have park hopper ability and you have a reservation at least one of those parks, you will be able to park hop between those two at any time. Right now, you have to wait till 11 a.m. to do so. When this change is over on June 9th, you won't even need to scan into the park you have a reservation at. You can go If you have a reservation at Disneyland and you want to hit Disney California Adventure first, just go to Disney California Adventure Park. As long as you have park hopping ability, whether you have a Magic Key or a park hop ticket, you can do so and vice versa. That's great news because, man, park hopping at the Disneyland Resort is the best. We've done it so many times when we had that ability because it's not like Walt Disney World where you have to go hop on some sort of transportation usually to get to the next park. You just walk out, and sometimes it's less space than just getting from one end of the park to the other to get from one park to another park.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at least right now before the changeover, if you haven't scanned into the park by 11 p.m., you don't have to go
11
to
a.m.
11 a.m. Yeah, sorry. If you haven't scanned into the park at all before 11 a.m., at 11 a.m., you can go to either park.
Right.
But like you said, that switchover will change. To
Again, you still need valid admission. You still need a park reservation for one of those parks during that time.
Right.
But this makes it like, let's just say Disneyland parks reservations are all gone. You really want to visit Disneyland on that day, but there are Disneyland or Disney California Adventure reservations open. You can book that and then just go to Disneyland if you have park hopper ability. You don't need to necessarily do that.
I mean, the one caveat is especially on certain times of the year where it's really busy at Disneyland, they may reach capacity and you might not get to hop when you want to.
That does happen.
That could happen.
But it doesn't happen a lot. But it does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen. So anyway, great news for those of you who like to park hop. For sure. So that's it for the Disney Stories of the Week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. When we do this, well, of course we start with Michelle because she's wonderful, fantastic, all things good in the world. You know, she does the best research. She definitely does the best Mandalorian and Grogu reviews. She also always, definitely, 100% has the very best tips. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Okay, so my tip of the week is related to Disneyland. And this is kind of like a little fun, maybe side adventure that you can do. But there is something called the Little Man of Disneyland. And you can find, look for him near the entrance to the Indiana Jones adventure, kind of like, look, this one is you're going to look down for it. But it's just something that is cute. It's actually from years ago, from a story that was in, those little, the little books. And it was
like the little golden books.
Little golden books. And that was the title of it, had Donald Duck, and it was called The Little Man of Disneyland. And so it's just funny that was published as a golden book back in 1955. And so they continued that legacy in Disneyland over, like I said, look down around trees at the Indiana Jones Adventure attraction.
Nice. Michelle's tip, always the best tip. First she's telling you to look up, and she's telling you to look down, look all around. You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, and then you shake it all about.
Sure.
We're doing the Michelle Hokey Pokey today with tips. Michelle's tip, always the hokey but best tip for sure. Especially this week. My tip, look, Michelle already took it, but I'm going to reiterate it. If you're doing the new version of Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run and you've done it in the past, you can do single rider line and not worry about missing the pre-show. The pre-show is the same. If you've never done it, and it is fun, and you get Hondo, and Hondo's great.
Yes.
So yes, if the line's not that great and you don't mind waiting and you want to experience it, do it. But if you want to get a little bit shorter line and you don't mind missing that and you don't mind doing single rider, it's a great way to get to experience this attraction. And you might actually get that engineer role, which he always was another non-selling point to doing single rider on this attraction in the past. But now it's kind of a better portion of the ride. Yeah. So why not? Especially if that's what you're looking to do. Try the single rider at Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run for sure.
Yeah. Good tip, honey.
Thanks. Even though we did it earlier. Anyway, that's it for this week's show. Next week, we'll be less than a month away from our Disney cruise, and that has us already thinking a lot about our embarkation day. And you know what? We decided maybe you might have an embarkation day on a Disney cruise coming up. So we'll be going ahead and talking about, well, better yet, Michelle will be talking about this. She's going to be giving you some of her hokey pokey tips to help make your embarkation day the easiest for you and your family, Michelle.
Hopefully it'll be something that, like you said, whether you're a seasoned sailor or new to Disney cruising, some things that can make it a very fun day that could otherwise be maybe considered very hectic.
Yeah, it can be a lot you already have enough planning for what you might do on the cruise, or maybe less, because you had that episode a few weeks ago where we were telling you how you don't need to plan anything for a Disney cruise, but this will kind of help make your embarkation day as smooth as possible, because you just want to get on board and enjoy the day, enjoy the cruise, right, Michelle?
Yeah, how to get the most out of that first day.
Perfect. And it will be from Michelle, so you know it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I think we'll both have some things to say.
Oh, I'll have some things to say, but no one will care. They'll only care about what you have to say. Yep. As it is every week. And as for this week's show, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
please sign up for the newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. It's just all full of Michelle-ness, which is great. That's all you need to know about it. Also, we're on social media. We're on #always Twitter and Blue Sky at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun on our Hyperion Adventures Facebook group. Also, we're on YouTube. You want to find us there. We're at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And while you're there, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you ever want to reach out to us, contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And I want to reiterate what Tom just said very quickly. We really would love for you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes. I built up those numbers on our YouTube channel. We're doing a morning show many days of the week just to kind of get your day started with some positivity. Sometimes we have some extra videos come out. Guess what? Our review of Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be an extra video this week. But yeah, we just appreciate you. And we thank you to everybody who has subscribed to that channel. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.